Yo, Elliot. This question is from Anthony Q. He wants to know how he could build a more balanced body. Says that in the past he's done a lot of bicep curls and bench press, and now he doesn't care so much about bodybuilding. He wants to be a stronger version of himself, and that means he wants to build a balanced body. Good approach, man. I like it. The thing is, because he's abused his body in such a fashion for several years, he knows his muscles are imbalanced. And he wants to know what the best ways to go about discovering what muscles are overdeveloped compared to muscles that are underdeveloped, and in what I've described as muscles that are tonic and muscles that are phasic, and how to discover what I personally call these muscle viruses so that he could build a more balanced athletic body. I gotta tell you, it's the best goal, the absolute best goal and the foundation of all performance. I don't care if you're a bodybuilder, a power lifter, Olympic lifter, strongman, football player, baseball player, basketball player. Building a balanced body where the nervous system feeds itself equally, distributes itself functionally throughout all of the musculature, and your recruitment patterns fire properly, is the first step to being a stronger version of yourself physically. And if you've followed me sometime and for some time and have watched some of my more advanced videos, I used to make a lot more of them in the past, I often talk about the layers of strength, and the first of the 4 layers of strength is neuromuscular strength. This is a topic that I'm very interested in. Most of the stuff that I study with regard to strength and performance is of this nature, right? So what I've done is I've given workshops and I've recorded workshops on how to do exactly what you're asking. I call it the Advanced Neuromuscular Strength course. Now, this is not a commercial. I'm answering your freaking question, but there's a link down below where you can invest in that course. It's a 4-day workshop that I recorded that begins with the nervous system, because that's the very first step. You can work on correcting muscular imbalances, killing the viruses, by stretching and strengthening. You know, for example, you say that your anterior part of your shoulder, the anterior compartment, is overdeveloped in relation to your scapular adductors. Well, the natural thing to do, the smart thing to do, is to stretch and strengthen, right? Stretch the front part of your shoulder, strengthen the back part. But there comes a time when that no longer works. In fact, the very first place you should start is with how the nervous system is talking to the muscles. Because if there's an imbalance, musculoskeletally, that doesn't allow the nervous system to feed itself out to the muscles in a balanced fashion, because that's where all the energy for your movement comes from, is your nervous system, then all of your efforts are going to be in vain. So the course begins with an incredible presentation by a friend and mentor of mine, where he talks about how the nervous system imbalances will ultimately lead to musculoskeletal imbalances and poor performance, right? And then what you'll discover in the course is that we go to a clinic where all of the participants in my workshop are assessed to see if these imbalances are actually there, and then corrected at the nervous system level in order for us to move on with the workshop, where I now take them, you know, and assess them on a plumb line, assess them through length tension assessments, basically putting our hands on the muscle and the joints and seeing how they move, how they're lined up, if there's any obvious glaring imbalances that we can detect from these assessments, and then move on to creating corrective stretching and exercise programs. It's a fascinating subject. It's one that I know the majority of people aren't as interested in, and that's why I don't talk about it nearly as much. But if you want to get a deep scoop on this stuff, then I invite you to take a look at my course. There are other books. You don't have to buy my course. There are other books on the topic. I would invite you to study some of Paul Chek's stuff. His golf biomechanics course. I know you're probably not a golfer, but the foundation of that course is awesome, and it talks a lot about the things I'm talking about. And a really good book called Muscle Testing and Function by Florence Kendall. I believe. I have the book, I just can't remember the name of the author. Kendall or Florence Kendall, Kendall Florence, something like that, is a must-have in the library of anybody who's interested in building the neuromuscular strength in a balanced fashion like we're describing here. So that's it, man. I hope that's helpful to you. You are on the path to becoming the strongest version of yourself, and you're not caught up in most of the neurotic ideas about aesthetics and lifting 700 pounds, which is fun, but you could become obsessed about. What you're trying to do is something that's going to last a lifetime, and is going to, you're going to be able to carry that with you in everything else that you do. A balanced body is a functional body. A functional body allows the full expression of who you are as a human being to emanate without restriction. So I'm getting poetic, but take a look at the stuff I've been talking about and you know where I'm coming from. Good luck. Yo, Elliot.